All right, today's video is on percent of change and percent error. You need to make your own notes, so please make sure and get out a piece of paper, and will you title it percent of change? And what I mean by percent of change is sometimes when you have something like maybe a car that can either, the value of that car over the years can either increase or decrease. Most cars decrease. But if it's like a classic car, it would increase in value. So we want to know what is that percent of change that it did over the years. Okay, so let's look at this formula. So go ahead and write this down. Percent of change is the ratio that compares the change, so the change in price or whatever, in the quantity to the original amount. All right, so it's looking at the change in cost over the original amount. All right. So here's actually the formula that you would use. So the percent of change equals the amount of the change, whether it be positive or negative. You never want a negative. You're always going to have the absolute value of that change, okay? Absolute value. Don't have a negative number up there. Over the original cost. And once you have that, you can simply divide those two numbers and then turn it into a percent. So you're going to multiply it by 100, which will turn it into a percent. Okay. So like my original example, I talked about a car. So sometimes if it is going to increase, it's called the percent of increase, if your value increases over the years. But if it goes down, it would call percent of decrease. All right. It would be the decrease amount. All right. You can write these down if you want to, but it's the same formula. All right. So let's do some examples. All right, so it says find the percent of change in the cost of gasoline from 1970 to 2010. Round to the nearest whole number, the whole percent if need be. All right, so remember it's going to be your change in the price over the original. All right, so I want you to write down this example. So right now, my original cost was $295. Sorry, my original was $130, so that's going to be on the bottom. That's my original cost. But the change, so you always want it to be, you just want to know the difference between these. So $2.95, $2.95 minus $1.30, okay, would give me $1.65 over 130. Okay, so that is my, change in price. So it changed $1.60 over the original. Okay, and then you simply divide that. So $1.65 divided by $1.30, it equals 1.2, and it said round to the nearest percent. So 1.269. So if I want to turn that into a percent, move it two places, 1, 2. So it would be 126.9, which would just be, if I want to round to the nearest, 127%. It went up. So the increase was 127%. Okay. Oops. I sit there and did it all for you. Okay. So remember, it's the change in cost. So just find the difference over the original. All right. Let's do another one. All right. Yusuf bought a DVD recorder for $280. Now it's on sale for $220. So it went down. So we know it's going to be a decrease. All right, round to the nearest percent. So find the amount of the decrease. So that would be 280 minus the 220. Okay, so it decreased in value $60. Okay, but I want to know what that was as a percent. So the amount of the decrease is $60 over the original. The original was 280. Okay, so put that in your calculators. But I want you to write it out. Even though I'm letting you use calculators, you still have to write it out. So 60 divided by 280 equals 0.214. Move it two places, 1, 2. So the decrease was 21%. So it decreased in value 21%. Okay. All right. You've got two problems to try. Go ahead and pause the video and come back when you have your answers. Remember, it's the change over the original amount. All right, check those answers. And you really should tell me one way or the other if it's an increase or a decrease, okay? All right. You have 4 questions here to do by yourself. I'm going to check your answers tomorrow. So pause the video and do these problems, but I am going to come back. We've got one more thing to do, okay? All right, I'm going to check those last 4, but let's go back and one more thing. It's kind of the same concept, percent error. Okay, so make sure you write this down in your notes. The percent error is the ratio that compares the inaccuracy of an estimate or the amount of error to the actual, okay? So the error over the actual amount. So it's really similar to what we just did. So if you look at my example here, okay, the actual amount was 400 and my guess was 300. So the amount of my error, first of all, the amount of my error, I was 100 off. 100 off over the actual amount. The actual amount was 400. And then just change that into a percent. Okay? So it's kind of the same thing. So make sure you have that down in your notes. Let's do an example. All right. Ahmed wants to practice free throws. He estimates the distance from the free throw line to the hoop and marks it with chalk. His estimate is 13.5 feet. The actual distance should be 15 feet. Find the percent error. Okay, so we have to first find the amount of the error over the actual amount. So the amount of the error there, so he said 13.5, but it was actually 15, so that's 1.5 over the actual. Okay? So it ends up being 10%. All right? All right, you do these 2 problems. And I'm going to check those 4 and these 2 problems tomorrow. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day, guys.